Maria, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
It's good to have you back here in sunny Orlando in our studio. I want to talk first today about your CyPath Lung test. You've had extraordinary growth in sales on that. It is a game-changing technology, early detection test for lung cancer. Tell us about how you developed it and talk about your sales growth.
So we have had significant sales growth, particularly in the first part of this year, largely because of a number of things. One is that we have a CPT code. We have a reimbursement code that became effective January 1st. So we see reimbursement both with Medicare and private payers for the test. The second is we have with several new members of our sales team who have experience. One comes from Olympus, another comes from Pulmonx, number of very significant companies in the diagnostic and in the pulmonary space. Ours is a test for the early detection of lung cancer, as you said. It's a non-invasive test, and that's important. People collect their sample. They collect a sputum sample that comes from the lungs at home. And with the help of a patient coach, they have someone who can walk them through how to do so. This is for individuals primarily who are at high risk for lung cancer, so most often smokers or former smokers. After 3 days of collection at home, they will put the sample back into the kit and mail it overnight using FedEx, a pre-addressed and prepaid
Very simple,
envelope.
very easy.
It is. It's very much a test that has the patient in mind. Once the sample gets to the laboratory, and our laboratory is Precision Pathology, it's a subsidiary of bioAffinity Technologies, the sample itself is processed and then run through what's called a flow cytometer. Ours is not a molecular test. Ours is not a test that looks at DNA mutations. It is not blood. We use sputum. What we look at is the microenvironment in the lung. In other words, we look at cell populations. And through using AI, machine learning, we have a automated analysis. We're able to determine if there is a presence of different cell populations that indicate there's a malignancy present. And within 2 days, a physician then gets a report back, and that report tells you whether or not you are at low risk or high risk for lung cancer.
Talk to us about flow cytometry and how it applies to your technology.
The flow cytometry is a very well-established instrument that's used primarily in blood cancers. So people who are suspected to have leukemias, for example, will give blood, and then the blood is analyzed, and the lab tech or the physician looks at, the pathologist will look at whether or not there are certain cell populations that indicate the presence of malignancy. Our test works similar to that. We've taken flow cytometry, and we've been able then to look at cell populations that indicate the presence of a malignancy for lung cancer. And we don't use blood, as is used in leukemias. We use sputum. We take the sputum, we disassociate it, meaning we take the gunk out, and we make it similar to blood into a single cell suspension.
The lungs are bathed with sputum. So.
Exactly. It's a very, very good sample. And the idea is that if there is a tumor or malignancy present, that sheds, this cancer does shed. And we look at then whether there's a population, for example, that's there that has been marked by a certain porphyrin. Porphyrins are taken up by cancer and cancer-related cells at far greater amounts, and they fluoresce. So one of our indices.
What is a porphyrin?
A porphyrin is like the heme in hemoglobin. It's a molecule that can be both synthetic or it can be organic, like the heme. This specific porphyrin is a synthetic porphyrin. Early work was done at Los Alamos National Lab on this porphyrin that found that it was particularly good in marking cancer and cancer-related cells in sputum, and thus the development of the test.
Understood. How accurate is the test?
So we completed a test validation trial, a clinical trial, and in it we found that for people who have small nodules, and this is important and we'll talk about it in a minute why, But for people with small nodules less than 20 millimeters, we had 92% sensitivity, meaning we could tell indeed true positives, people had cancer, and 87% specificity, meaning we could tell with 87%, near 90% accuracy, whether someone didn't have cancer.
How does that compare to other tests?
There are not a lot of tests that are in our space. There are a couple, and the few that are either have a high sensitivity and a very low specificity, or vice versa. So the fact that we have a very balanced test is very meaningful for both physicians and their patients.
And you have CLIA approval now, the Certified Lab Improvement Amendment. That allows you to, for physicians to recommend tests, correct?
Yes. So there is many laboratory tests are CLIA certified. They're called laboratory developed tests. They require that the test be offered only by the laboratory that has developed it. In our case, it's our own laboratory, Precision Pathology Laboratory Services, that developed the test, and they offer it to physicians. We received a CPT code, a reimbursement code, specific to this laboratory-developed test. It became effective on January 1, and sales have been very, very good.
So in the first 4 months of this year, you had 547% annualized growth on this test, so congratulations. How do you continue to grow your share of the market on this?
So we have taken the approach that we will start in our own backyard. So we're a Texas-based company, and so our beta testing has been in Texas, and that's where we see significant growth. But interestingly, we find quite a number of physicians are referring, and also it's word of mouth. And so we've had physicians from New Jersey, from Pennsylvania, from California, and from other states who have asked and are now receiving, North Carolina, and using the test. So our approach is to continue to focus on Texas. It's a large state, to grow our sales force and our marketing efforts, to look at word of mouth, and then to develop this test with a very strong marketing program nationally once we're ready.
You have, let's go to the patents. You have, I know, multiple patents. I think the number that comes to mind is somewhere 2025. I could be a little bit off on that, but let's talk about the patent protection.
We have very good patent protection for our test for CyPath Lung, both with existing patents and new patents for inventions and discoveries that we've made as we've developed the test.
Excellent. To sum things up today, you've got a potentially groundbreaking test with a very large market opportunity, I think somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 billion by 2030. Tell our viewers, how big can you grow sales for the product over the next 3 to 5 years?
So we're looking at certainly growing in the United States, and we're starting, as I had said, in Texas. We see growth organically in other states, and then we also have strong protection in patent protection and IP in Europe and Asia and other countries. So we're looking at really the sky's the limit for us as we develop this test. I want to point out, unfortunately, lung cancer is the leading cancer killer. It kills more people than the top next 3 cancers combined. So there's a great need for what we're doing.
There is indeed. Let's sum it up today, Maria. What's the value proposition for investors today?
So we have, with bioAffinity Technologies, a groundbreaking test for the detection of lung cancer, America's and world's leading cancer killer. We have reimbursement as of January 1st. We have a growing sales and marketing team, as well as growing sales and marketing for the test. Moving forward, we'll be going not only into the nation, but into other parts of the world with this test. So we're very, very pleased with the prospects and encouraged by the market that we see for CyPath Lung.
You're doing a great job, Maria. Keep it up. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.